When Earth was invited to join the Intergalactic Youth Exchange, it had seemed like a beacon of hope. To the United Planets Coalition, UPC, Earth was still a relatively unknown planet, its people a curious mix of intelligence, unpredictability, and cultural richness. The UPC was a conglomerate of some of the oldest, most technologically advanced species in the galaxy, and each planet contributed its most gifted youth to participate in this yearly exchange program. The children who attended were hailed as Earth's brightest young ambassadors. They ranged in age from 10 to 12, their curiosity unbounded, and each one had been selected for their quick thinking, adaptability, and fearlessness. They would travel to Zarvik 7, a vast alien compound dedicated to fostering interspecies understanding. This year's group was accompanied by a chaperone named Nia Rivers, a former astrophysicist turned teacher with a knack for handling unexpected situations. Nia had an endless fascination for alien cultures, and she was genuinely excited about what this exchange could mean for Earth's standing among the stars. Zarvik 7 was a sprawling, glittering metropolis, with towers that curved like molten metal, streets that pulsed with bioluminescent light, and skies that glowed under 3 small suns. Alien species from across the galaxy bustled through the city's concourses, each more visually arresting than the last. For the Earth children, the sights were nearly overwhelming. As they settled into the exchange, there were the usual oddities that came with cultural differences. The Zari delegation, with their shimmering scales and fluid language, found Earth children's laughter to be shrill and peculiar. The Shio from the Ice Moon Aurak seemed both mystified and disturbed by the warmth in Nia's voice as she spoke with the children, claiming it was too earnest. But mostly, the children adapted quickly, bonding with other alien youths and beginning to learn from them. However, during the second week, things started to feel subtly off. Small things, quiet glances exchanged between Zarvik 7's officials and cryptic meetings that Nia wasn't invited to attend. Strange questions would be directed at the children. Do you ever feel tired after physical exertion? Or, how much water do you need each day? Questions that, while harmless on the surface, seemed oddly specific. One evening, after a full day of educational activities, the children began complaining of fatigue. Nia initially thought it was normal, given the novelty of the environment. But then Zara, a girl with boundless energy, collapsed during dinner. Moments later, 3 other children followed suit, their skin cold and clammy, their pulses faint. The Zarvik's medical staff was quick to intervene, administering unfamiliar medicines and keeping the children under close observation. They assured Nia it was only a minor adaptation issue. Earth children were likely reacting to something in the air that their bodies weren't used to. But Nia felt an uneasy twist in her stomach. She noticed how the medical staff whispered among themselves, eyes flickering between the children and her. Despite the reassurances, the children continued to show signs of strange symptoms. The normally vivacious group became sluggish, and they exhibited pale skin and tired eyes, as if they had been drained of energy. Nia couldn't ignore her suspicions any longer. She noticed that her chaperone ID badge only gave her access to certain areas of the compound, barring her from others where she knew the medical staff and Zarvik's officials were meeting. Every time she inquired, the Zarvik's officials offered gentle but firm explanations, brushing her off with assurances that everything was under control. Desperate for answers, Nia turned to Lyra, an alien educator she had befriended earlier in the program. Lyra was from the Alarian species, known for their empathy and protective nature. When Nia voiced her concerns, Lyra listened intently, her pale blue eyes narrowing in concentration. She took a deep breath and finally said, "There are rumors that certain UPC members are interested in Earth's resilience. They think your people might possess natural immunities to things that could be valuable to them. This exchange program has other purposes beyond what is stated." Nia's heart pounded. She had feared something like this, but hearing it out loud confirmed her worst suspicions. Are they experimenting on them? Lyra glanced around cautiously before nodding. The UPC sees Earth as a resource they have yet to understand. If your children have some unique adaptations, they might see it as an opportunity. Nia, I think you need to be very careful. That night, Nia gathered the children in their sleeping quarters. In hushed voices, she tried to explain the situation without frightening them. They had always been smart, perceptive kids, and they caught on quickly to the idea that things were amiss. Zara, still weak but determined, asked, "What do we do?" Nia thought for a moment. For now, we observe. We watch them as they watch us. And if anything strange happens, you come to me immediately. Don't let them give you any treatments without me there." The children agreed, and for the next few days, Nia and her group kept up their routines, playing the part of innocent ambassadors while keeping a vigilant eye on their surroundings. They noted every whisper, every glance, and every locked door that they passed. Nia even managed to hack into the facility's communication systems, catching snippets of coded messages exchanged between the officials, vague but concerning references to Stage 2. As the days wore on, the alien doctor's interest in the children's adaptation symptoms intensified. They began running more frequent examinations, taking samples of blood and saliva, claiming it was to better understand their physiology for future exchanges. Nia felt her protective instincts flare every time a child was taken for testing. One afternoon, Lyra slipped a small data chip into Nia's hand. "This might help," she whispered, glancing around to ensure no one was watching. "It's a copy of the medical data on your children. I don't know all the details, but it contains the records of their experiments." Nia was astonished by Lyra's bravery, knowing that providing this information could have serious consequences for her friend. That night, in the solitude of her quarters, Nia scanned the data. The reports confirmed her fears. The Zarvik staff were using the children as test subjects, analyzing their immune responses to environmental stressors and, disturbingly, a series of controlled toxins. Her suspicions solidified into rage. These were innocent kids, explorers in a foreign world, and here they were being treated like lab specimens. She knew they had to get out. Nia formulated a plan. With Lyra's help, she arranged for a field trip outside the compound. It was a risky move. Zarvik 7 was heavily monitored, but she needed to create a distraction long enough to get the children away from the UPC's scrutiny. Lyra promised to help distract the guards and keep the communication channels clear for as long as possible. As the sun dipped below the alien skyline, casting Zarvik 7 in a deep purple hue, Nia and her group prepared to make their escape. Under the darkening sky of Zarvik 7, Nia led the children through the bustling compound. They kept close, their faces solemn with the gravity of the situation. Each child was wearing a thin metallic bracelet, something Lyra had given them earlier, claiming it would help mask their biometric signatures from the UPC's tracking systems. Lyra was waiting by the eastern gate, her expression a mixture of worry and determination as she gave them a small, encouraging smile. As they moved deeper into the city, Nia couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every guard or passerby felt like a potential threat. She tightened her grip on Zara's hand, feeling the young girl shiver slightly beside her. But Zara, always the bravest of the group, looked up and gave Nia a determined nod. They had to keep going. The escape route would lead them to an unmonitored sector, one Lyra had confirmed had minimal surveillance and an old cargo shuttle dock they could potentially use. However, just as they neared the gate, a loud voice echoed through the air. "Halt! Earth delegation, identify yourselves." Nia's heart skipped a beat. Turning, she saw 3 UPC guards approaching, their uniforms shimmering in the twilight, weapons at their sides. She glanced at Lyra, who gave a barely perceptible nod before stepping forward, her alien face neutral. "Is there an issue?" Lyra asked calmly, her voice steady. "This is an authorized excursion. I was given permission by Administrator Tarek." One of the guards, a tall reptilian with deep amber eyes, eyed them suspiciously. "Tarek?" He didn't mention anything about a late evening excursion for the Earth children. The guards moved in closer, their gaze scrutinizing each child. Nia's mind raced, searching for any possible excuse or reason to keep them moving. But just as she was about to speak, a faint buzzing sound erupted from a communicator on one guard's wrist. A moment later, the guard held up his wrist to his ear, listened, and then, with a grunt, waved them forward. "Fine," he muttered, though he kept a close eye on them. "But stay in the designated areas. Any deviation, and we'll be back to escort you personally." They walked on, but Nia could feel the tension radiating from the children. As soon as they were out of earshot, Zara whispered, "Miss Nia, are we going to make it?" Nia squeezed Zara's hand, a reassuring smile spreading across her face. "We'll make it, Zara. I promise." They finally reached the gate, and Lyra used her access card to unlock it. Beyond lay a darkened corridor that led to the old cargo bay. Lyra turned to Nia, her expression grim but resolute. "This is as far as I can go," Lyra whispered. "The shuttle is docked at the end of the corridor. Once you reach it, you'll be outside the immediate range of the Zarvik's monitoring systems. But be cautious. This escape route isn't foolproof, and the Council will be alerted if they lose track of the Earth delegation." Nia nodded, clasping Lyra's hand in gratitude. "Thank you, Lyra. We owe you everything." Lyra's gaze softened, and she looked down at the children. "Be safe. And remember, not all aliens believe in the Council's ways. Some of us just want peace." With one final glance, Lyra disappeared back into the shadows of Zarvik 7, leaving Nia and the children to make their way through the darkened corridor alone. As they hurried down the corridor, the faint hum of machinery and distant echoes of alien voices filled the air. The children kept close, whispering to one another, trying to stay calm. Zara, usually unshakable, looked up at Nia with wide eyes. "Miss Nia, will we ever see Earth again?" Nia smiled softly, brushing a stray lock of hair from Zara's forehead. "Yes, Zara. I promise you, we'll make it back. Together." Just then, a loud alarm blared through the corridor, followed by an ominous automated voice in an alien language. Nia's heart raced as she glanced around, realizing they had triggered some kind of security system. "Everyone, move. Now," she whispered urgently, urging the children forward. They sprinted down the corridor, the alarm echoing louder and louder. As they rounded a corner, they saw it, the shuttle Lyra had promised, a sleek, aged transport with just enough room to accommodate their group. Nia quickly ushered the children on board, her eyes scanning the control panel as she familiarized herself with the alien technology. One of the older children, Malik, who had a knack for mechanics, jumped in beside her. "I think I can help," he offered, his voice shaky but determined. Together, they worked to power up the shuttle, their fingers flying over the controls. Nia felt a surge of pride as Malik managed to decipher the alien commands, his face alight with concentration. Just as the shuttle began to rumble to life, the sound of footsteps echoed from the corridor entrance. Nia glanced over her shoulder, her heart pounding as she saw a group of guards charging toward them, weapons drawn. "Malik, hurry," she urged, her voice tense. The shuttle's engines roared, and Malik gave her a thumbs up. "We're ready." With a final glance at the approaching guards, Nia hit the ignition, and the shuttle lurched forward, blasting out of the docking bay and into the open expanse of space. The children cheered, their voices echoing with relief and triumph. But their escape was far from over. A warning light blinked on the control panel, signaling an incoming transmission. Nia quickly patched it through, her heart sinking as she saw the face of an alien commander on the screen. His features were harsh, his eyes filled with fury. "Earth delegation, this is Commander Jax of the Zarvik Security Force. You are in unauthorized possession of Council property. Surrender immediately, or you will be apprehended by force." Nia took a deep breath, her mind racing. "This is Nia Rivers of Earth. We are returning to our planet with our students. Any attempt to detain us will be seen as an act of aggression." Commander Jax's lips curled into a smirk. "You are in no position to negotiate, human. Prepare to be boarded." Nia quickly muted the transmission and turned to the children, her face determined. "Hold on tight, everyone. It's going to get bumpy." With Malik's help, Nia maneuvered the shuttle through evasive patterns, dodging the Zarvik's patrol ships that had been dispatched to intercept them. The children clung to their seats, their expressions a mix of fear and excitement as they watched the stars blur outside the shuttle's viewport. As they swerved to avoid an incoming blast, Zara's voice rose above the chaos. "Miss Nia, look! Another ship!" Nia glanced at the screen, her heart leaping as she recognized the emblem of Lyra's people, the Alarian Resistance. The Alarian ship swooped in, positioning itself between the shuttle and the Zarvik's patrols. A familiar voice crackled over the communication channel. "Nia, this is Lyra. We're here to help." Relief washed over Nia as she patched Lyra through. "Lyra! You don't know how much this means to us. Lyra's face appeared on the screen, her expression fierce. The Council has overstepped its bounds for too long. It's time the galaxy sees what humanity is capable of. Follow us, we'll clear a path. With Lyra's guidance, Nia and the children followed the Alarian ship, weaving through the stars as the Alarian fighters intercepted the Zarvik's patrols. The children watched in awe as Lyra's people fought to protect them, their ships moving with a fluid grace that belied their lethal capabilities. Finally, as they reached the outer edges of the Zarvik system, the Alarian ship pulled alongside them. Lyra's voice came through one last time, filled with warmth and determination. Go, Nia. Take your children home. We'll handle the rest. Nia's voice cracked with emotion as she replied, Thank you, Lyra. For everything. With a final nod, Lyra's ship turned back toward the Zarvik's patrols, buying Nia and the children precious time to escape. As they sped toward the distant stars, leaving Zarvik 7 behind, Nia felt a profound sense of relief and gratitude. But as they made their way through space, Nia knew the fight wasn't over. The UPC's interference with Earth's children was a line that had been crossed, one that humanity would not forget. As Nia and the children settled into the shuttle's cabin, the hum of the engines was a reassuring sound. It marked a victory, even if it was only a small one. Malik, who had taken a seat next to her, looked back at his fellow students with a grin that didn't entirely mask his exhaustion. The children were safe for now, but Nia knew their journey was far from over. Miss Nia, Zara asked, her small voice breaking the silence. Are we going home? Nia knelt beside her, offering a warm smile. Yes, Zara. We're heading back to Earth, but we need to be very careful. The Galactic Council won't just let us go. As if on cue, the communication console buzzed to life again. Nia felt her chest tighten, fearing that the UPC forces had somehow regained control. But when she activated the screen, it was Lyra's face that appeared, the backdrop of her Alarian ship dimly visible. Lyra! We thought we'd lost you in the escape, Nia said, relief and gratitude evident in her tone. I wouldn't leave you behind, Lyra replied, her expression resolute. We've intercepted UPC communications. They're assembling a larger fleet, and they're planning to cut off your route to Earth. They won't stop until they have what they call their missing assets back. Nia clenched her fists. We can't let them bring the children back to Zarvik 7. We need a way to slip past their forces. Lyra glanced around her own control panel before turning back to Nia. There's an uncharted star corridor. It's dangerous, but if you're willing to take the risk, it's your best shot. I can transmit the coordinates. Send them over, Nia replied without hesitation. Lyra's screen flickered, and coordinates appeared on Nia's display. She looked over at Malik, who was already analyzing the new data. Think we can handle this, Malik? He gave a cautious nod. It's risky, but it's the fastest route. We'll have to keep our speed up, though. The children held on tightly as the shuttle veered into the star corridor. The atmosphere was tense, and Nia could feel the weight of each child's trust resting on her shoulders. They were frightened, but she could see the spark of determination in their eyes, a resilience that ran deep within humanity. As they traveled through the uncharted corridor, Lyra's voice came through the speaker again. Nia, I have to warn you, this path is known to disrupt communication and navigation. I'll lose contact with you once you're deeper inside. But if you make it through, the UPC won't be able to track you until you're much closer to Earth. Understood, Nia replied. Thank you, Lyra. For everything. Stay safe, Nia. And, remember, humanity isn't alone in this. Some of us are on your side. The line went dead as the shuttle moved further into the star corridor. They were alone now, with no backup, and Nia could only hope that Lyra's information was reliable. They sped forward, navigating through pockets of swirling cosmic dust and flashes of light that seemed to pulse from distant stars. Miss Nia, Zara whispered, leaning close. Are we going to make it? Nia looked down at her, the young girl's face illuminated by the faint glow of the control panels. Yes, Zara. We're going to make it. I promise. They pushed forward, but the environment grew increasingly hostile. The shuttle shook as it encountered gravitational anomalies, pulling them off course. Malik struggled to recalibrate, his face tense with concentration. "Stay with me, Malik," Nia said, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. He nodded, his resolve unwavering. "I've got this, Miss Nia. I won't let us down." They continued through the corridor, each twist and turn a new challenge. But Nia was proud of how the children handled themselves, their bravery echoing the very essence of humanity's resilience. They clung to one another, comforting each other, and Nia knew that no matter the outcome, they were a family. Finally, after what felt like hours, the shuttle emerged from the corridor, the sight of distant stars stretching out before them. They were closer to Earth now, and Nia breathed a sigh of relief. "Malik, Zara, all of you, we're almost home." The children cheered, their faces alight with hope. But the celebration was short-lived. Another alarm blared, signaling an incoming ship on their radar. Nia's heart sank as she saw the unmistakable shape of a UPC cruiser closing in on them. "Everyone, strap in," Nia ordered, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. The UPC cruiser sent out a warning blast, a flash of light passing dangerously close to their shuttle. Malik gripped the controls, his knuckles white as he maneuvered evasively. "They're going to catch us," he muttered, panic creeping into his voice. But Nia placed a calming hand on his shoulder. "Not if we show them what humanity is made of." She activated the shuttle's limited defenses, using every ounce of her training to outmaneuver the cruiser. But the UPC forces were relentless, closing the gap with each passing second. Just when it seemed they would be overpowered, a sudden surge of energy erupted from behind them. Two Alien fighters appeared, swooping in to intercept the UPC cruiser. It was Lyra's fleet, holding the line for them once more. The children watched in awe as the Alien ships engaged the UPC forces, creating just enough of a distraction for the shuttle to break away. "Lyra," Nia murmured, gratitude flooding through her. Lyra's voice crackled over the comms, weakened but steady. "Go, Nia. We'll cover you." The shuttle sped away, Lyra's forces holding back the UPC with a fierce determination. As they neared Earth, Nia felt a swell of emotion. They were close, so close. Soon, the shimmering blue and green orb of Earth came into view, and a collective cheer erupted from the children. They had made it home. Nia guided the shuttle down through Earth's atmosphere, her heart pounding as they approached the landing site. As they touched down, she felt a profound sense of relief. They had escaped, they were safe, and they had shown the Galactic Council that humanity's strength could never be underestimated. As the children filed out of the shuttle, hugging one another and laughing with relief, Nia looked up at the sky. She knew this wasn't the end of their struggle. The Galactic Council would remember this day, and they would likely return with more force. But Nia also knew something else: humanity had allies now, friends willing to stand with them in the face of oppression. And as long as they had that, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. Zara ran over, taking Nia's hand. "We did it, Miss Nia. We really did it." Nia smiled, kneeling down to hug her. "Yes, we did. And next time, we'll be ready for whatever they throw at us." They stood there together, a group of survivors who had faced the darkness and returned stronger. As they looked up at the vast, star-strewn sky, Nia knew they had only just begun to write humanity's story in the stars. The final confrontation was a mix of chaos and hope. The main characters found themselves deep within the alien stronghold, facing overwhelming odds. They remembered the stakes clearly. This was not just about survival, it was about the future of Earth's children, a vision they could not abandon. They used every lesson they had learned, every ounce of courage and resolve, to stand firm against their foes. As the tension reached its peak, they drew upon all their strengths, their teamwork becoming the key to overcoming the greatest threat yet. After a fierce and exhausting struggle, the tides began to turn. Through sheer willpower and clever tactics, they managed to exploit a vulnerability in the alien forces. The twist in this battle? An unexpected ally arrived just in time, someone they had once viewed as an enemy but who now saw humanity's worth. The tables turned, and with this ally's help, they delivered a decisive blow to the alien forces. When the dust settled, the main characters stood on the battlefield, victorious but changed. They had learned about resilience, the importance of unity, and the power of compassion even in the face of an alien threat. They reflected on their journey, recognizing that their efforts had saved not just themselves but symbolized hope for Earth's future.